Bonjour, this is Marion, and in this video I will show you how to paint your own color wheel. It's a simple color wheel, and you will also learn about the 4 characteristics to use to identify color. The first characteristic is the hue. The hue is simply the name of the color. This is blue, this is yellow, this is orange. The second characteristic is value. Value answers to the question, is your color dark? Is your color light? For example, this blue here is a dark color, while this yellow here is a light color. Then intensity. Intensity will answer to the question, is your color bright or dull? For example, these 2 gray blue here are definitely quite dull, while this red here is bright. So this is a bright color, these are dull color. And finally, temperature. Temperature will answer to the question, is your color cool? Is your color warm? And a typical example is blue is considered to be the coolest of the color, while orange is considered to be the warmest of the color. I will also provide you with a template for you to paint your color wheel, and this template is available in the description with a link. But I will also show you in this video how to make your own template using a compass. To paint this color wheel, I am going to use oil paint, but you can absolutely use acrylic paint, watercolor. It might also be fun trying it with colored pencils. Now, for the surface on which you're going to paint your color wheel, you have several possibilities. The first possibility is to use the file document that I gave you and to print it on a piece of paper. This is the simplest solution. It has an inconvenience, is that the paper will soak your paint. So it's not ideal. You might need to do several coats, but you know what? It's a very good solution. I did that several times and it works very well. The second solution to do your color wheel is to just simply use a canvas panel. Simple canvas pen. The third solution is to use a professional pad. And this one is really nice because it is oiled, prime, and linen. And I love it. It's very smooth. It's wonderful to the touch. It's very nice to paint with oil on this material. Now, the fourth solution, which is the solution that I'm going to choose, is to paint on my mixed media drawing notebook. I'm going to cover the surface of my paper with a coat of gesso. So gesso paint is an acrylic white paint. Okay, so let's talk about material. So you'll need a compass. You will need a pencil. In this case, I'm using HB pencils. You will also need a Sharpie and a ruler. Once your color wheel is ready to be painted, here are the colors I chose. So for the primary red, I chose the Alizarin crimson pigment. There's plenty of red pigments that you can choose. You don't have to use this one, okay? And the whole thing is to learn to do a color wheel with different pigments, because you will get different results. So this is red. For the blue, you will, here I use the French ultramarine blue. Again, there's phthalo blue, cerulean blue. There's plenty of different blue that you can paint your color wheel with. And there's also, I used here as yellow, I use cadmium yellow light. Again, you can choose another yellow. Every color wheel will be different because every pigment is different. And finally, you will need some white. And in this case, I use titanium white, but same thing. If you have another white, another pigment, just use another pigment. You will need a palette knife to mix your paint and brushes. Here I use some small flat brush. I like them. I think they're very nice to paint with. To clean your brushes, you will need one of these. This is Turpenoid on the left. This is Gamsol on right. And they are both odorless, and they are both two different brands and both very good. And then you will need to put these two in a jar. Okay, this is where you will put your liquid. You will also need some medium, especially if you decided to do your color wheel on paper. And as I said before, it will soak your paint, so this will be very helpful to spread your paint. It's called Megilp from Gamsol, but there's another one also that is very good, and it's called LIquin. And finally, you will need some paper palette to spread and to mix your colors. Okay, so this is very useful. I strongly advise you to fix your paper palette on a cardboard with tape. Okay, so like that it won't move, and it will be so much easier to manipulate. Always have some paper towels with you. You will need that to paint. Okay, this part of the video is for those of you who want to prep your paper surface with gesso. So this is my mixed media drawing pad. This is the gesso I'm using. This is water here, right there, paper towel, and a brush. Let's get started. Wetting my brush. Okay, I'll take some gesso, enough quantity, and then for those of you who want to draw your own template, this is what we are doing now. Okay, so this is the template. This is my piece of paper, and on top of it I have one coat of gesso. I will need my compass. I will need a pencil, Sharpie, and a ruler. So let's get started. I found the center of my paper, and I'm going to draw a circle. So now I'm tracing my circle. Okay, so now you keep the width of your compass the way it is, and you put the pointy part kind of above your center. Okay, you point it here, and then you make a mark here. You make a mark here. Now you go on that, you move your compass, you move your pointy part, and you make another mark. And same thing again until you will go all around your circle. So again, another mark. Okay, another mark, and another mark here. Okay, and now you're back in exactly your center where you started. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 marks. Now you drop and you keep your, very important to keep the width of your compass. You grab your ruler, you grab your pencil, and then you trace a line between, trace a line here. Okay, now you join these 3 points, so this mark, center, and this mark, and you've got another line. Okay, and now same thing here. So in fact, what you have done here is that you have divided your circle into 6 equal parts. To that point, I have, as you can see, 3 inches. So I'm counting 3 inches. So I'm making another mark here. Okay. So same thing with my compass. I start on my mark, I put the pointy thing of my compass, and I make another mark. So I'm gonna do again 6 marks. Voilà. This mark will go here. This one will go here. This mark goes here. And now if I check, I'm right there on the right next same mark. And I will do the same thing again. I will connect through the center my marks. Now I will divide that into different rows. So if you look at my template, the rows are roughly half an inch. Okay, so I'm going to draw half an inch here and another one. Now I will reduce the size of the width of the compass. So again, I put my compass on in the center of my circles. This is where my compass ends, and I want this compass to go 1 inch below. So I'm going 1 inch below here, and I'm going to mark my circle. And finally, one last time, I will retrace my main pieces of my little camembert. So here it is. I'm going to do that from here to there. Now I will trace freehand pretty fast with my Sharpie. My color wheel is finished. So now I am going to write that this is going to be red. This is one of the primary colors. This will be yellow. And this will be the third primary color, which means it's going to be blue. Okay? Yellow and blue, when you mix them together, make green. Okay? Blue and red, when you mix them together, they make purple. Okay? And red and yellow, when you mix them together, they make orange. Okay, so now this color wheel is ready to be painted. Let's start painting our color wheel. The first thing we are going to do is to put our paint on our paper palette. So this is my paper palette, okay, and it's on cardboard. I will affix my paper palette on my cardboard. So just 2 pieces of tape, no more, so it's going to be easier to remove when it will be dirty. Okay, and that's it. Now I will put my red color, and my red color is, as I said, it's Alizarin crimson. So this is my red color. Then my cadmium yellow, This is my yellow color. Okay. And then finally my French ultramarine blue. So here are my 3 colors. Okay, I will also add some nail Megilp, or you can also put some LIquin. Both of them are very good. So this is the medium that I will put here. I close. And finally, some white that I will put on the side here. Okay. And this one is titanium white. If you plan to do several color wheel with several different kind of red and blues and yellow, my advice is to write the name of your pigment. So here it's my red is Alizarin crimson. Okay. My yellow is Cad yellow. Cad yellow light. Okay, and my blue here is French ultramarine. Ultramarine blue. Okay, so that's very important, especially if you do several color wheel, as I strongly advise you to do. Now let's start painting. I have my I have 3 brushes. You don't need 3 brushes, but it's just going to make your life easier if you have 3 brushes. I like flat brushes for oil. It's your choice. So I also have my liquid here, which is in that case my liquid is Gamsol and it's odorless. I have my paper towel handy right there. Okay, so the first thing is wetting my brush. I dry it on my paper towel, and now I'm grabbing on my brush, I'm grabbing some red paint. So you see I'm working on the side of my pile, and that's very important. These are a lot of little advice that I strongly emphasize when I teach. Okay, because this is very this is what is going to make your life so much easier. So you see I put some paint on the 2 sides of my brush. Okay, and I don't go I only fill my brush to the half of the hair. So now I am putting the red on in its little box, and because I had put some gesso before, it spread pretty well. But for those of you who are working on a very dry surface, like for example paper, it might be very useful to blend in there a little bit of medium. It's just going to make your life easier. Okay, so that is my red here. I will do the same thing with a yellow brush. If you have only 1 brush and you can't do that, just clean your brush and clean very well your brush. Okay, so it won't contaminate the other colors. Now let's do yellow. The next phase is going to be to reduce the value of our primary colors. So the value of the color is this color light or dark. In this case, we are going to make them lighter. Okay, so the value will be lighter value. Okay, and we will go in that direction. Okay, so this is how we are going to do it. And one of the words for that is called the tints. There's so many words about it that. So once again, I'm taking my red brush, okay? And now I am going to reduce the value of my red pigment by adding some white. So I'm taking some white here, okay? Trying to keep my pie clean, so I'm just working on the side. And I'm bringing some white in there. And I'm mixing some white in my red. Now, I feel like this is too white, so instead of adding more red, okay, into my white, and the problem with that is that I will end up with a ton of paint. The best thing to do is to wipe your brush, okay, and now take a little bit of white here and add it on the side here of your red. So again, it's all about keeping your pie clean and working only on the side. Okay, so I've added some white, maybe not enough. I'll add a little bit more, and now I'll see if my color is lighter. So yes, my color is definitely lighter. But something that you must something that you might be noticing is that it is lighter, but it looks also more opaque. And that is because white is an opaque pigment. So it covers better. Add a little bit more white again, this time to make it even lighter. So I'm working here on the side of my color. Okay, and I'm making it lighter, even more light. And I feel that it could be whiter, it could be lighter. So again, I'm wiping, and I'm adding more white. Okay. So that's one thing done. I went from a color out of the tube, which we call the purest color, and then I added some white to make it lighter and lighter. Now I am going to do the same thing with yellow and with blue. It's harder because to start with, the value of yellow, okay, is already very light. It's a very light value, and I want to get lighter. So you see, it's not going to be very easy. The good thing with oil is that I barely have any difference with these two values. So I am going to add a little bit more yellow into the one in the middle. And that's the good thing. That's something that is really nice to do with oil, because you can blend your colors. But by doing that now, I'm too close to that. So, okay, let's add a little bit more white in there. But that might not be something that is going to work very well. It's just because it's already such a light value that I struggle to make two lighter levels. Now, next one is blue. In the case of blue, it's so much easier to get lighter and to reduce the value of your color, because I'm starting pretty dark, so I have plenty of room to get lighter. I think I could easily do even more than that. One thing also I always insist with my students, and I know it sounds like these little things that are not important, but at the end I think these things really make your life so much easier, is to avoid wasting too much paper towel, to avoid having paint all over your clothes and everywhere. I always try to clean my brushes on a flat piece of paper towel. Okay, and when it's way too dirty, what I do is that, you see, I've got some here from previous painting, then I turn it. like that, and then I keep working on it. So it allows me, first of all, to have an easier surface to clean my brush. It's so much easier than when it's in your hands like that, and you always end up and you have some on your hands. Okay, so it's just much easier. As much as you can, try to do that. And then also it allows you to waste, I think, less paper towel. Okay, what I will do now is that I have some white on my brushes, on my free brushes, so I have to clean them. So first, I'm going to clean them on my paper towel, okay? Like that, it will allow me to keep my water clean, my Gamsol cleaner and for longer. It's very, very important to have them pretty clean. There they are. I check. Not great. Okay, so back to clean. For the secondary color, I will mix them using my palette knife. Let's start with orange. Orange is a mix of red and yellow. So I'll take a little bit of yellow here, and I will put that here. And I wipe. I will take a little bit of red, and I will put that here. Now, if you look at my two colors, I have to take into consideration the fact that one is dark, one is light. So it's probably going to, the dark one is going to overpower the light one. Also, another problem is that you never know if your pigments is a kind of a strong pigment or a weaker pigment. So that's something that you're gonna have to learn and to practice. So now, if I think that if I put this amount of yellow into my, if I put this amount of red into my white, I will have a very, very orange, red color. So I think I have too much red in there. So I'm just going to remove some of the red. Okay, so now I do have much less red comparing to yellow. Let's see. So I'm mixing here, and I'm not mixing like that. Okay, this is not like you're not making an omelette here. Okay, it's more like, I like to say it's more like kneading the bread, you see. So this is more like kneading. So this is kind of a pretty nice orange. Okay, so this is pretty good. Okay, so now clean. Okay, and my orange is ready. So I'll take a brush, I'll add my orange to my color wheel, and again right in the center. And honestly, it's not a very bright orange, it's a very dull orange, and that is because of the nature of these two pigments. If you want to have a brighter orange, you would probably need to use another red, a brighter red. Okay, so now I will add the white to my orange. So I'm taking some clean white that I can find here. Oops. I'm putting aside the blue and the dirty white. And I'm adding some white to my orange. So this is going to be much easier than the yellow, because the orange value is darker than the yellow. And more white. Okay, and I feel like this is not white enough. I always adjust my color once it's in here. Not everybody works like that. Some people are better at doing their colors right on their palette. I'm not. I always adjust my color. I also feel like the other one is it's a little bit too light. Okay, I think that's a pretty nice transition of value here between a darker, medium, and light value. Next one now, we are going to do green. So, same problem than with the orange. Green is blue and yellow. And blue being very, very dark, I think I'm going to put just a little bit of blue in there. And a lot of yellow. I'm even thinking with just that I have too much blue, so I'm going to mix on the side. Et voilà. So we have done the first part of our color wheel. We've talked about the hue, okay, the red, the blue, the yellow, which are the primary color. Then we've talked about the secondary color, orange, purple, and green. Okay. We also talked about values and tint, which means that you add more and more white to your color to make your value lighter. And we also talked about how you have to deal with the fact that you're working with pigments who have different strengths or weaknesses, and you have to adjust to that. Now, the next step is to fill these last rows. And for that, we're going to talk about intensity and also about temperature. The first thing you have to do for that is to clean up your paper palette. Okay, so I need some pretty clean, some pretty good red. I want to be sure that my red is going to be clean without so I'll need some pretty good green. So I'm putting aside this dirty white, okay, and I'm making a little bit more green to be sure I'll have enough for my second part of my painting. Okay, if it's not exactly the same, it's enough, it's good enough. Okay, so I have some green here, I have some red here. I need now my orange. Okay, so you see here, I keep on opening. All my sides now are dirty. So up now, I'm turning my paper towel. So you see, honestly, I think it's really a great way to not waste. Orange. I'm removing the white here from my orange. Okay. So I don't work with a I don't want to work with an orange that has had some white in there for the next step. Okay, blue, I can also clean it up. Okay, leave it on the side. Okay, and purple, same thing. I am cleaning it up, but I think that I won't have enough purple in there. So I might make a little bit more purple. Not too much because we're not having a ton of space to fill. Okay. Next phase in this color wheel is to paint this ring here. The ring that is just below our pure color. I don't really like the word pure color because none of them are pure, but that's how we call the color out of the tube. Okay, This ring here is what I like to call this is what I like to call the shadow ring. Okay, so this is how we are making darker color. And to make darker color, in this case, we're not going to use black. We are going to mix our color with the opposite color. And the opposite color on the color wheel is what we call the complementary. Okay, so the opposite color of yellow is purple. So these two colors are complementaries. The complementary of green is red. The complementary of red is green. The complementary of blue is orange. The complementary of orange is blue. So for this ring here, we are going to make our hue here plus a little bit of the complementary. So the shadow ring is the hue plus the complementary plus complementary. Okay, and obviously there's gonna be it still has to read as yellow. Okay, same thing here. This purple, I'm going to add some yellow in it, but it still has to read as purple. Let's start with these complementaries here. Let's start with the yellow and purple complementary family, or a little couple. So I will start by taking my my clean brush here, and I will take a little bit of yellow here, and I put it on the side. Okay, and wipe. Now you remember that yellow is very light. Okay, this purple is very dark. So if I want to slightly modify my color, okay, and still read it as a yellow, that means I'm gonna have to put like a tiny amount of purple. Let's try. You see what I've done here? Tiny amount to change it. Let's try it now. Let's try it on my paper. See if I can see a difference. And yes, I can see a difference. Look at this color. This looks like a very nice yellow ochre. It looks like a neutral paint. It looks like a dollar paint. It looks like this paint is less bright than this one. So here, what we're doing right now, this whole ring here, the shadow ring, is what we're really doing here is that we're playing with intensity. We're making our color less bright, because when you add the complementary to your color, what you do is that you dull your color. You make it less bright. You make it more dull. You make it more earthy. That's how you're getting your earth tones. All your earth tones are going to be here. Okay. So I have done this nice earth tone yellow that we can call a yellow ochre. And now I am going to do the same thing here. So I am going to add some yellow to my purple. But in this brush, I already have some yellow and some purple in this brush. So I'm just going to keep that brush, okay, and work on it. So I am taking some purple here, and I'm going to mix in some yellow in there. Oh, so you see that here there's a lot of yellow in there. So I'm probably adding more purple into it. Okay. Look at this beautiful color. Okay. So now I have a nice, this still reads as a purple, but it's a nice dull purple. it's going towards a nice warm brown. Okay, so this ring is what we call the shadow ring, but let's right now jump into the next ring. And the next ring is what some people call this next ring the gray ring. So the gray ring is that, let me write that, this ring here is what we call the gray ring, the grays. Okay, the gray ring is that you take your shadow color, so gray equal shadow plus white. Okay, and that's how you make your grays. So to make a gray, you can simply mix black and white, or you can mix your complementary colors together, okay, and add some white. And that's how you're making that's how you have all these amazing gray tones, because there are so many grays, and that's how you understand how to make grays. So now I have this color on my brush, so I am going to add some white to that. But it's already quite of a dark color, and I want this to be gray. So as always, I'm wiping it to be sure that I don't have too much pigment. Okay, and I'm grabbing some white here that I'm putting here. Okay, and I'm going to make a nice gray. It's gonna be like more like a light brown. So I understand that for many of you, gray is black and white, and that definitely doesn't look like a gray. But the idea here, you know, is to show all the infinity of colors that you can get when you mix your complementaries together, and then you add some white to it. Okay, so I'm wiping my brush, and now for this one, I'm gonna go back to my color here. Okay. My brush, okay, I think now it's going to be maybe time for me to move to a new paper towel. Okay, so here I have a new paper towel. Okay, so again, I don't think I have to clean my brush too much, but wipe it very well, so I'm not fighting with the dark purple. Okay, and now I'm going to do my gray yellow ochre. A little bit of that. Okay, and some white in there, and let's see. So this is definitely a very, very light yellow. More white, and maybe a little bit more purple in there, just so I can see. That's nice. Yes, very nice. So these two colors really are made of exactly the same colors. Okay, they are made of purple and yellow. Okay, but in this case there's more purple. In this case there's more yellow. Now let's move to the next complementary. Okay, this is a warm color. This is a cool color. Blue is a cool color. Orange is a warm color. Okay. In this color, the value of this color is similar to the value of this color. Okay, but this one looks warmer and this one looks cooler. And that's because in this one, I've added some warmth. I've added some orange. So that's also how you play with temperature. Okay, So this gray ring is very interesting also because you can understand color temperature. So these are two grays, okay? You might say this is a brown, this is a gray, but in this exercise, okay, we're saying that these are grays, okay? And these are both made of the same color, okay? They are both the same value, which means that roughly they have the same lightness or darkness, okay? But this one has more blue, this one has more orange, this one is cooler than that. So this one is the warmer, this one is a little bit cooler, and this one is even more cool. Okay, so just right there, we've got 3 different temperatures. Let's now move to our last. So taking another brush, mixing now red. So this is dirty. And in this case, we're using a lot of paper towel because we're mixing a lot. But when you're painting, when I'm painting, I don't use my paper towel that much. Okay, so now last thing, mixing some red. So I'm taking some red here, okay, I'm putting here more into my green. So now your color wheel is finished, and you have learned about hue, you have learned about tints, you have learned about shadows, complementary, and also how to make grays. You also have learned about the most important, the 4 characteristics to use to identify a color, which are the hue. So is it red? Okay, is it yellow? The value, is this a light color or is this a dark color? The intensity, is your color bright, is your color dull, and how to reduce the intensity of your painting by adding the complementary. So to reduce the intensity of a color, I mix in there its complementary. That's how I'm gonna get some beautiful earth tone. And then temperature, because if you compare, for example, these 3 colors that are similar in values, okay, and kind of similar also in colors, because they're made of orange and blue. This one is warmer, this one is cooler than this one, but this one is the coolest. It's even cooler than this one. Okay. And so that's it. I hope you really appreciate this exercise, and my advice for you is to do it again and again and again and again, and do it with different pigments.